Well, for today's video, I had a bit of a different idea. This is my 1991 Alfa Romeo 164L, and it has just shy of 300,000 kilometers. So I figured I would go into detail about what that's like and what happens to, an early 90s sports car when you put that much mileage on it. So let's get into it. So for starters, when you go to pop the hood, sometimes you have to come up and lift that side. Then you come back to the car. You pull the latch again. Then you can pull this side. Then you pull this tab, kind of hard to do with one hand, even a disabled one. And there you have it. Main thing to note about the motor, there is no more paint on the valve covers or the intake. And it runs rich. I haven't really looked into it because I'm not prioritizing this car. I kind of bought this car just in a pinch because I had to go to school. So it's very much on the back burner and it's my lowest priority at the moment. But I still do enjoy the car once in a while, and it is very fun to drive. It's a blast. It's not fast, but it does move more than your average little econo box. Like, you can get it up to 200 fairly easy, right? It's not like you're asking much of it to go that quick, but we only do that on the track, so you don't get the opportunity very long and for very often. So another notable thing about the engine bay is that if you take a look right in here, you can actually see that the pulleys and the belt are wearing through the inner fender. I would do something about it, but I just don't think I'm too bothered to. It's fine. It's self-clearancing. It's great. This car's got like very minor stuff done to it. Like, it's got some different wheels on it, which makes the speedometer read extremely wrong. It's a nice set of Borbets, which I call Bobberts, but that's fine. And it's on lowering springs, but I'm not sure how much. The previous owner was kind of unaware of what he had. So that pretty much wraps it up for engine stuff and whatnot. The glass seems to have something strange going on here. I'm actually not entirely sure what that is at all. It seems kind of like rust, but it's not. And you can see like there's something going on there, and I'm not sure what it is. It's like not stuck to the it's not sealed no more or something like that. It's got a small little dent here, if you can kind of see that, which, I mean, I caused that because a thing this car loves to do is the door handles freeze when it's cold out because I guess there's water stuck to them or whatever. There's constantly condensation on them. So I went to push the door shut one time, and I dented it. And another thing is it needs brakes pretty bad, but that's obviously a wear item. What are you going to do about that? And the last main thing is it needs this wheel bearing pretty bad. It makes a reasonable amount of noise. So eventually I'll do that, but again, on the back burner. I don't drive it much. It's just for a once in a while cruise. So let's hop right into that cruise. So getting into the car now, you can see the airbag light is flashing, and once in a while it does have a check engine light which comes up there. But this car is just shy of 300,000 kilometers. That's a pretty serious amount for a little Italian car that came out in the early 90s. And the interior is really, it's not basic. It has what it needs, but it's strangely designed, and all these switches have a really nice feel to them, right? They're all very analog buttons. They're nice. They're got one ashtray, two ashtrays, but no official cup holder, which is why it has an oil filter. Where's that oil filter from? It's a Ferrari oil filter. Must have been installed by the first guy who ever did an oil change on this, because that's pretty friggin' cool. But it's got a really strange system for opening the glove box, and the vents look funny. It's even got a really convenient switch here for people that would actually care about diagnosing stuff on these. You can test to see if all your lights work. Very nifty. But once we're inside, we do find a couple of other issues, like none of the window switches work except for the driver's, and the lock button works, but if you come over to this side of the seat, you'll see electric seat controls and heated seat control, none of which work. It must be a broken wire somewhere in here, because I've checked every fuse and none of them are blown. So somewhere I'm missing main power for all my seat controls, and that applies to the driver's seat, the passenger seat, and the rear heated seats, which is a hot commodity for the early 90s. So without further ado, let's get to cruising it and listening to this thing, because it's probably one of the best sounding V6s to ever be produced. All right, well, we are currently in third gear, so let's get a nice little pull from third to fourth to fifth. There you have it. That is my 300,000 kilometer 1991 Alfa Romeo 164L. You probably won't see too much of this car on the channel because I don't really plan on doing very much with it for quite a long time. It's very much on the back burner, so maybe if I can make the YouTube thing stick, maybe you'll see it later on, but probably won't be too much about it. Maybe a couple polls here and there appearing in random videos, but outside of that, that'll probably be it. So thank you for watching this. You probably didn't stay till the end, and if you didn't, I'm going to find you. No, I'm just kidding. But do whatever you want, and yeah, car.